WADR, l'info chez vous.
WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's 6 p.m. in Dakar. Good evening and thank you for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio and broadcasting on 94.9 FM and worldwide at wadr.org. Welcome to Newslink. We'll begin with our headline stories. A court in Bamako suspends the dissolution of political parties and groups by the transitional government. Senegalese capital, Dakar, elects a new mayor, Abbas Fall. In Liberia, demolition of the main opposition party, CDC's complex, sparks national debate over political space.
Our party has always followed the rule of law. This was not a lawful eviction. It was a fair mission to destroy and erase the CDC in an attempt to fulfill their very wish, Waka has repeatedly expressed to his lieutenants.
And the African Chiefs of Defense Staff Conference gets underway in Abuja, Nigeria, with emphasis on the deployment of modern warfare.
The threats of today are no longer confined to conventional warfare. They are digital, asymmetric, and often invisible. We must lead the charge in modernizing our forces, investing in cyber defense, artificial intelligence, and indigenous military technology, without which it will be difficult for us to achieve our security.
Stay with us for the details of these stories and more.
Here is Abdullahi Hassan with Newslink.
Once again, many thanks for joining our news broadcast. Let's begin in Mali, where a high court in Bamako has suspended the dissolution of all political parties and groups in the country. The court, in its ruling on Monday, described the transitional government's decision on May 12, 2025 as inappropriate and temporarily restored a legal framework to the parties pending the outcome of the legal proceedings. Sankule Janko reports.
The court's decision on Monday comes following a referral by the Council of the Parties concerned after months of nationwide condemnation and international criticism. The dissolution, enacted by a presidential decree on May 12, banned any meetings or activities by political parties and provided for sanctions against violators. Malian authorities had announced that the dissolution was part of reforms to rebuild the state in accordance with the recommendations of the 2021 National Conference, and that a new law on political parties would be drawn up in the coming months with the participation of all stakeholders. However, the High Court ruled that the transitional government's decision was inappropriate based on the unconstitutionality raised by the applicants. In the petition by the applicants, the parties asserted that only the Constitutional Court is empowered to rule on the conformity of the text with the Constitution adopted in July 2023, an argument the High Court endorsed. This court ruling comes after several hearings have been postponed since July and temporarily restores a legal framework for political parties. Other proceedings related to the dissolution are underway before various courts in Bamako, with one such case due to resume at the Court of Commune 6 on September 24. At the time of filing this report, the ruling military has yet to issue any official statement on the court's ruling.
Sankule Janko filed that report. Here in Senegal, a new mayor has been elected to head the highest administrative office of Dakar, the capital city. Abbas Fall from the ruling Yehu Askanwi coalition replaces the embattled former mayor Barthelemy Diaz. Fall defeated Diaz with 49 out of 88 votes during an election held at the city council on Monday. Augustine Colley completes the story.
Abbas Fall was elected by the city council with 49 votes out of 88. The current Minister of Labour comfortably edged out the three other candidates, including Ngonde Meng, interim mayor, who represented Halifa Sal's Takwadu Senegal party. Abbas Fall, barely elected, donned his mayoral badge and I quote, "I will be the mayor of all Dakar residents," end of quote. The Minister of Labour, Employment and Relations with Institutions added that the city of Dakar will no longer be politicized. This appointment comes as Barthelemy Jazz, ousted from his post as mayor last December, filed a petition with the Supreme Court to denounce his dismissal and demand the annulment of the vote. The decision of the country's highest court was swift. Barthelemy Jazz's request, reviewed this Monday, was rejected outright. The President of the Republic responded to the election of Abbas Fall. On his X account, President Faye expressed hope that this appointment will be based on public service, dialogue and resolute action in the service of the people of Dakar.
Augustine Cole reporting there. In Guinea, the Ministry of Territorial Administration has announced the 90-day suspension of 3 major political parties, namely the UFDG, the RPG and PRP. Officially, the decision is attributed to non-compliance with laws governing political parties in the country. However, the measure comes in the middle of campaigning for the constitutional referendum scheduled for September 21, 2025, and is already provoking strong reactions across the political spectrum within public opinion. Analysts warn the move could heighten tensions and weigh heavily on Guinea's political climate. Still on political matters, one of the main opposition political figures in Côte d'Ivoire was cleared of nationality status by an Ivorian court over the weekend. Tidjane Cham, president of the PDCI party, has now jumped a major hurdle in obtaining an official nationality certificate ahead of the October 25 presidential election. Record submission of candidacy files will close on Tuesday, August 26.
Tidjane Cham's nationality has long been a subject of political and legal debate in Côte d'Ivoire. The controversy dates back to 2020, when he was first issued a nationality certificate based on incomplete documents, including his mother's passport. A second certificate followed in 2022, reportedly with presidential support, despite questions over whether he met all legal requirements. The issue escalated when internal rivals within his party revealed that Cham had been naturalized as a French citizen in 1987. This revelation led to a fresh legal dispute in April 2025, during which he was provisionally struck off the electoral roll pending clarification of his status. Determined to resolve the matter, Cham submitted a new application earlier this year, providing the necessary documents, including proof of his renunciation of French nationality in March 2025, his birth certificate and his mother's identity papers. The courts have now confirmed his Ivorian nationality, granting him a definitive and incontestable certificate. With less than 3 months to the presidential election, the decision removes a major obstacle to Cham's candidacy, strengthening his position as a leading contender.
Emoradat reporting.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Remember, we stream live on wadr.org and across all social media platforms at WADR English. In Ghana, the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons is warning political actors and the public to stay away from carrying any form of weapon during the upcoming Akwetia by-elections. The Commission says anyone found with arms, lethal or not, will be promptly arrested and prosecuted. From Accra, WADR's Nadiri Tete tells us more.
The National Commission on Small Arms and Lightweight Weapons, NACSA, has issued a strong caution ahead of the Akwetia constituency by-election, declaring the polls a strict no-go area for all forms of weapons. In a statement, NACSA warned political actors, party supporters, and the general public against actions that may incite or promote violence, stressing that the display or use of firearms, knives, machetes, tasers, pepper spray, or any harmful instrument will not be tolerated. The Commission's Executive Secretary, Dr. Adam Bona, emphasized that Ghana's democracy has come a long way and should not be undermined by politically motivated violence. He insisted that the unlawful possession and use of firearms during electoral periods threatens the peace and stability of the nation. NACSA is working with the Ghana Police Service, Electoral Commission, National Security Council, civil society, and other partners to monitor the elections. It urged stakeholders to respect the rule of law and prioritize peace before, during, and after the by-election. For WADR, Nadiri Tete, Accra.
Away from Ghana, Monrovia witnessed a major political development over the weekend as authorities carried out the eviction and subsequent demolition of the headquarters of the opposition Congress for Democratic Change. Officials have defended the move as a matter of safety and regulatory enforcement, but it has stirred strong reactions among CDC members. On August 22nd, Inspector General of Police Gregory Coleman announced that he had been directed by the 6th Judicial Circuit Court to enforce the eviction following months of legal proceedings over ownership of the property. From Monrovia, Abraham Parker reports.
The court-ordered eviction of the Congress for Democratic Change headquarters in Monrovia later escalated into a full demolition. Buildings constructed by the party since 2005 were brought down, leaving many party supporters and sympathizers helpless in the face of a heavy deployment of armed officers. Following the incident, former president and standard bearer of the CDC, George Weah, in an address to the nation, described the court's action as a political move aimed at destabilizing the party.
Our party has always followed the rule of law. It was not a lawful eviction. It was a fair mission to destroy and erase the CDC in an attempt to fulfill their very wish Wadr has repeatedly expressed to his lieutenants. While executing this criminal act, they failed to notice the loud silence of the vast majority of ordinary Liberians.
Reacting minutes after his arrival at the Rabat International Airport, President Joseph Boakai said the demolition was a fair demonstration of respect for the rule of law.
The law is the law. It's the government implementation of the law. The police were ordered to do it, and they did it. If that demolition is removal of the people from premises that don't belong to them according to the law.
The CDC, founded in the 2000s during Liberia's post-war political restructuring, has long been a dominant force in the country's politics, alternating between influential roles in government and opposition. Meanwhile, several opposition leaders have condemned the demolition as a direct attack on political pluralism, calling for stronger collaboration among opposition groups. For Newslink on WADR, Abraham Parker, Monrovia.
You are listening to Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM Dakar, Senegal, and worldwide at wadr.org. Here's a reminder of our top stories. A court in Bamako suspends the dissolution of political parties and groups by the transitional government. Senegalese capital, Dakar, elects a new mayor, Abbas Fall. In Liberia, the demolition of the main opposition party, CDC's complex sparks national debate over political space. Still ahead in the news, the African Chiefs of Defense Staff Conference gets underway in Abuja, Nigeria, with emphasis on the deployment of modern warfare. We also have the guest interview and sports news. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Many thanks for staying with us. Abuja, Nigeria's capital, is hosting a conference of the African Chiefs of Defense Staff, a regional strategic meeting on defense and security. The conference, which opened on Monday, brings together heads of units and departments of different military formations at a time when terrorism and general insecurity is rising across the continent. From insurgency perpetrated by armed groups such as Boko Haram and ISWAP to ISIS and JNIM, an Al-Qaeda affiliate group to Al-Shabaab, armies are debating new strategies to counter the threats that resulted in thousands of deaths and displaced millions of people, including in West Africa. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, urged heavy investment in modern technology like artificial intelligence (AI) by governments to address the security challenges.
The choice of the theme of this summit, combating contemporary threats to regional peace and security in Africa, the role of defense collaboration, is both timely and pertinent. It captures the urgent need for a united action in addressing the complex and evolving security challenges confronting our continent. It is a platform to harmonize our doctrines, strengthen interoperability, and build enduring trust among our defense institutions. We must therefore seize this opportunity to craft a new architecture of African-led security cooperation. Distinguished colleagues, the battlefield is evolving. The threats of today are no longer confined to conventional warfare. They are digital, asymmetric, and often invisible. The enemy is within. As chiefs of defense staff and heads of our armed forces, we must lead the charge in modernizing our forces, investing in cyber defense, artificial intelligence, and indigenous military technology, without which it will be difficult for us to achieve our security. The challenges before us are great, but so too is our resolve. Let us rise above division and embrace unity. Let us build a continent where our people can live free from fear and where our armed forces are symbols of stability, professionalism, and pride.
Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, speaking there. More on security, the Beninese army has announced that it failed a terrorist attack in Gada, Alibori 3 days ago. The target was a customs post in Gada, near Malanville, on the border with Niger, attacked by armed fighters. Christopher Ticho has more.
According to the Beninese army, at around 11 p.m. last Friday night, terrorist fighters attempted a surprise offensive aimed at overrunning the customs post in Gada. After several minutes of gunfire exchanged with regular forces, the attackers were forced to retreat. One was killed and several others wounded, while defense and security forces seized a cache of weapons. No casualties were reported on the side of the security forces. Officials say coordination between defense and security units in Alibori, where the attack took place, was crucial. The swift deployment of reinforcement helped secure the area and immediately launched a sweep operation to track down the assailants. This represents a significant setback for armed terrorist groups in Benin, following a series of recent attacks targeting security forces. A few weeks ago, the Armed Forces General Staff stressed that vigilance, anticipation, and rapid response would remain the guiding principles of defense and security operations. Meanwhile, the Beninese authorities have reaffirmed their commitment to stepping up the fight against incursions by armed groups from neighboring countries.
A report by WADR's Cotonou correspondent Aziz Adam Sule and presented by Christopher Aticho.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
The guest interview segment takes us back to Liberia, where the capital, Monrovia, was the scene of a significant political development over the weekend. Now, authorities carried out the eviction and subsequent demolition of the Congress for Democratic Change headquarters, a key opposition party. While officials insist the move was based on safety concerns and regulatory enforcement, it has sparked strong backlash from CDC members. To help us analyze the political implications of this event, let's join Aaron Ware, a Liberian political analyst who shared insights on what this could mean for Liberia's political landscape.
CDC, for almost 20 years, was a tenant to a property that they never owned. They were paying rent, and the landlord decided that he wanted his property back, and there was a court ruling that turned over the property after 20 years of CDC tenancy back to the owner. And with the ruling of the court, they were asked to turn over the property. And so this is basically a court order. It was an eviction notice by the court to turn over the property by the CDC.
But what are the potential political implications of the CDC headquarters demolition for Liberia's opposition landscape?
It's a very disturbing picture about political elites not wanting to institutionalize the politics. It's about people's self-interest at the expense of the ordinary persons. I mean, we have a situation where George Weah becomes president. He built for himself in less than 18 months several properties, including his old properties, refurbished. You have ministers under George Weah who have built for themselves several houses, estates. But then the one thing that was so central to everyone, which was acquiring or headquarters in the party's own name, they failed to do it. And so the eviction and the demolition of the headquarters sends a very bad message, not only to the CDC, but to the very ruling party that still does not have its own headquarters, that doesn't have an office in its own name to other opposition politics.
How might this eviction impact public perception of the government's commitment to democratic norms? Because we've seen, CDC coming back to say the eviction is politically motivated, for example.
I would rather base my analysis on the court decision. And the court decision was to have the party evicted. I will also base my analysis on the precedents of other parties being evicted using court orders. The Unity Party has been evicted before. They've changed locations, I think, twice. The Liberty Party has also been evicted before. They changed locations more than once or twice. So for CDC to come and say that their eviction is political, we have to first look at what the precedents are in Liberia, how political parties have changed their dresses several times. So I wouldn't settle for the CDC analysis. What happened make the party to appear irresponsible, that they could have avoided it, especially less than 2 years after they were in power.
Could the timing and manner of the eviction really influence upcoming political developments or elections in Liberia?
Yeah, it could send mixed messages to partisans who seeing their leaders living comfortably. Their leaders are living in wealth, and the only place that they share, which is the headquarters of the party, is no more. This sends a very troubling message that partisans are expandable and that the money and resources gathered in the name of the party has been shared among a few individuals and not thinking about the future of the party. It could send a wrong message, it could impact loyalty, it could affect commitments, and it could further disintegrate the party. So the impact and the true meaning of what we witnessed a few days ago could have far-reaching consequences.
How significant is the court's involvement in legitimizing the police action against the CDC property?
So I would say the court decision is quite significant and less political, if you ask me. With 22 years since the peace agreement was signed, the judiciary is being reformed. There's some level of confidence that is being restored. There's still some political interference that the judiciary suffer from. In the case of the eviction notice and the precedence of prior eviction of political parties from headquarters to new places, they all have to be placed in this context. So I would say the court action here is a lot more significant and less political, unlike what the leadership of the CDC want us to believe.
You have just listened to Aaron Ware, a Liberian political analyst. And now in the world of sports, the 2024 CAF Nations Championship taking place in East Africa is now in its semi-final stage. For more on this and other developments, let's join Christopher. Teacher Christopher, good evening.
Abdullah, good evening. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm very good. You look good.
Merci beaucoup.
And right, you rightly said that Chan is in its semi-final stage, but I want us to begin sports this evening with some latest development in the world of Afro basketball.
Tell us more.
Right, and so Angola is back on the top of African basketball. The host of FIBA Afro Basket 2025 dominated the finals on Sunday, crushing Mali 70-43 to claim their 12th Afro Basket title and the first since 2013. The win ends the 12-year title drought for Angola, who reclaimed the crown from Tunisia champions in both 2017 and 2021.
So for Angola, this is the first in 12 years?
Yes, this is the first in 12 years, and that also becomes their 12th trophy in basketball as well. And interestingly, Senegal also secured their third place in the 2025 Afro Basket tournament with a commanding 98-72 win over Cameroon on Sunday in Luanda.
But it appears also, if you go through social media feeds and tweets, Senegalese are not really happy with their performance.
Well, securing third place is good, but of course, as a team and as a sportive nation,
formidable team,
exactly, you would always want to, be in the picture. Least. For instance, we also saw how Nigeria has always been in the news with the women winning the just ended Women AFCON Plus,
and the male team securing.
And the female also winning Afro Basket as well. Oh. It was expectant that the male team would also dominate in the CHAN tournament. But in the early stages of the tournament, they were actually exited. And of course, conversations have not been so heavy in Nigeria about that because they've just comforted themselves with the two wins by the female side.
True.
Right, so as you rightly said, let's move to development in the ongoing CHAN tournament as on Saturday, 2 actions took place. Uganda taking on Senegal, with Senegal winning that particular encounter 1-0. And then Sudan also proving that they are a very formidable side in terms of football, led by Coach Kwesi Appiah, where after a 90 minutes of action or 120 minutes of action, they drew 1-1 with Algeria. But actions went into penalty kick out, and then Sudan dominated 4-2 on penalty, winning that particular encounter. So this is how the standing looks like at the moment in the semi-final stage of the CHAN tournament. Madagascar will be taking on Sudan tomorrow at exactly 2:30 p.m. and then Morocco would also be in action against Senegal. Winners and then that would proceed to play the finals of the CHAN competition, which will be held on Saturday 30th August, and then the third and fourth place would also be played on 29th of August as well.
Thank you very much, Christopher Ticho, with those analyses. And for you out there, remember that we'll bring you all of these updates and more in our sports program with Sankule Janko Sports Talk. And that's how we end this edition of Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening. And many thanks to Fali Lisso, Ismaila Kamara, and Umuda Nyogo for the technical support. Do interact with us via social media platforms, X, Instagram at WADR English, and on Facebook, WADR English Service. I'm Abdullahi Hassan. Good evening.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Niba County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Gulf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.